Welcome to today's Explainer. We're stepping into the shoes of a philosophical historian today, and we're going to track the absolute intellectual mechanics of history's most famous prince-turned-philosopher. I'm talking, of course, about Siddhartha Gautam, who most of us just know as the Buddha. But here's the thing, we are intentionally going to look past the standard mythology today. Instead, we're focusing on his internal journey. We want to see how his very real, very human experiences actually shaped one of the most profound philosophical shifts in all of human history.
Okay, let's dive right into this. Think about this for a second. How does a man who literally has everything, someone born into the absolute extreme pinnacle of royal luxury, end up discovering the ultimate truth about nothingness, about total detachment? That is a massive, massive psychological leap. To really understand that leap, we have to view his journey as a rigorous, step-by-step intellectual evolution. He didn't just wake up one day suddenly enlightened, right? He engineered a pragmatic solution for human suffering through a very specific dialectical process. He started with a thesis, which was his royal life. Then he actively rebelled to find an antithesis in extreme asceticism. And finally, he arrived at an ultimate synthesis. So let's break down exactly how he pulled this off.
Section 1. A royal yet restless mind. Our story starts back in 563 BC in Kapilavastu, with the birth of a prince to King Suddhodana and Queen Maya Devi.
Now, what's really interesting about this is the immense tension placed on his destiny from day one. After his mother dreamed of a white elephant, the king summoned 64 Brahmins who delivered this heavy, dual prophecy. They declared he would either become a Chakravarti king, a world conqueror, or, if he witnessed the suffering of the world, he'd become an enlightened ascetic, a world teacher. Well, his father was absolutely terrified of losing his heir, so he chose the first option for him. He literally built a bubble of luxury to hide his son from old age, disease, and death. And that, right there, set up the core internal conflict of Siddhartha's early life.
Section 2. Vedic Studies and Disillusionment. You see, despite his father's best efforts to just distract him with sports and endless luxury, Siddhartha was a deeply restless, incredibly gifted student. His early education actually planted the seeds of his rebellion. He rigorously studied the intellectual foundations of his time, the Rig Veda, the Atharva Veda, the Upanishads. But he wasn't just passively reading, he was observing, alongside his brilliant wife Yashodhara, who completely shared his distaste for the injustices around them. He saw the immense poverty just outside the palace walls. Inside, he just saw greedy officials obsessed with maintaining their own power. Pretty soon, both he and Yashodhara started to view all that royal luxury not as a gift, but as a suffocating swamp. Number 1. Through all those intense studies and debates with scholars, Siddhartha recognized the blatant social inequality of his time. He specifically started challenging the 1% privilege and total dominance held by the elite Brahmins. He came to a really profound realization here. Merely changing the political regime, or just becoming king in his father's place, was never going to fix human greed or suffering. The problem was way deeper. It was entirely internal.
Sections 3 and 4, From Prince to Ascetic and Testing Limits. The birth of his son, Rahul, was kind of the tipping point. He felt that swamp of worldly attachment literally closing in on him. So in the dead of night, he actually escaped the palace on horseback. He cut off his hair, sent back all his royal garments, and walked into the forest. He was now actively hunting for the complete antithesis to his royal life.
Let's move to how he approached this and see how this builds. He treated his spiritual quest exactly like a scientist, rigorously testing hypotheses. First, he studies under a master named Alara Kalama, reaching the realm of nothingness in just 3 days, but he rejected it as incomplete. Then, under Udaka Ramaputta, he reaches the state of neither perception nor non-perception in a single month. Rejected that too. Finally, he spent 6 grueling years practicing extreme bodily mortification with 5 ascetic companions, starving himself down to literal skin and bones.
Section 5. Awakening through the Middle Way. After 6 agonizing years of starving himself, Siddhartha hits a wall, and then has a massive intellectual breakthrough. So the crucial point is this. He realized that torturing the physical body actually clouds the mind. You can't find ultimate clarity when your brain is starving for nutrients. So he accepted a simple bowl of rice pudding. To his 5 ascetic friends, this looked like total failure, and they walked out on him in disgust. But Siddhartha had just found his ultimate philosophical synthesis, the middle way. He rejected the extreme luxury of his past, and he rejected the extreme self-torture of the ascetics. He engineered a pragmatic balance, realizing that a healthy physical body is absolutely mandatory to sustain a sharply focused mind. With a properly nourished body and a laser-focused mind, he sat down beneath the Bodhi tree. And here, he essentially performed a rigorous mental teardown of reality itself, progressing through 3 distinct stages of deep meditation. First, he observed past lives and the universal cycles of creation and destruction. Second, he realized that birth and death are really just external temporary illusions. And third, the absolute breakthrough. He identified and defeated the root cause of all human suffering. It wasn't angry gods, it wasn't some predetermined fate, it was simply ignorance. In that incredible moment of enlightenment, his internal monologue crystallized into this incredibly powerful thought. "O prison guard of ignorance, I have seen your true form. You shall build no more prisons for me." He realized that ignorance is literally the architect of the walls we build around our own minds. By finally seeing the illusion for exactly what it was, the prison just collapsed. He had broken the cycle. He was now the Buddha.
Section 6. A philosophy for all. Because he didn't just keep this profound realization to himself, did he? He went right back to his 5 former companions at Sarnath to share what he'd found.
And this brilliantly illustrates his whole approach. He didn't just give them some vague, mystical speech. He structured his massive realization into a highly teachable, perfectly logical system known as the Four Noble Truths. Think of it as an engineered, pragmatic framework for the human condition. Identify the problem, suffering exists. Diagnose the cause, ignorance and attachment. State the solution, suffering can actually be ended. And finally, provide the method, the 8-fold path of pragmatic awareness. It is, quite frankly, a psychological masterclass. But what makes this whole explainer so powerful is seeing how he actually put this philosophy into action in the real world. He was radically inclusive. He accepted Sunita, an untouchable sweeper, into his order, completely shattering rigid caste traditions and shocking the local kings. He forgave a terrifying murderer named Angulimala, teaching him that true strength isn't in cutting things down, it's in having the power to heal and reattach what is broken. And when a grieving mother named Kisa Gautami begged him to resurrect her child, he sent her to find a mustard seed from a house that had never known death. He gently guided her to the profound psychological realization that mortality is a universal, shared human experience. Which brings us right to the Buddha's final, departing message to his followers before his passing. He told them point blank that no one else can save them, they must be their own lights. So, I'm going to leave you with this question today. If a prince can walk away from every worldly comfort imaginable, sit in the dirt, face his own deepest ignorance, and find his own light, what is stopping you from becoming your own lamp? Thank you so much for exploring this remarkable intellectual journey with me today. Until next time, keep questioning and keep learning.